Let's jump into the Rotoworld player news. For all your player news, go to NBCSports.com. Here are the notable injuries we're tracking. C.J. Stroud with the concussion, Geno Smith with the groin injury, Tirico with that ankle. Justin Jefferson had to go to the hospital with the chest injury. Jamar Chase with an ankle. Nico Collins left the first half of the Jets game with a calf injury. He did not come back. Aaron Jones with his knee injury. Alexander Madison, we'll see if it's a Ty Chandler week. Isaiah Pacheco with the shoulder. Brian Robinson still dealing with the hamstring out of the bye. And Jay, I think we start right there with Stroud, who took a pretty vicious hit from Quinnen Williams and was, down and out on the ground for quite a bit.
Yeah, not great. And just the type of hit that it was and the manner of the concussion, I would expect that he's probably not going to play this week. Certainly the market expects that he won't. The Titans are 3-point favorites in that game, home to Houston. If C.J. Stroud plays, obviously that is not going to be the line. Now, typically about 1 in 4 guys have come back from a concussion the following week. But just given everything that's been said, the way D'Amico Ryan's talked about it, I suspect that we're probably not going to see C.J. Stroud this week.
Yeah, and by the way, that's the question is, like, let's pretend you do, okay? Like, can you even use him? Because we don't expect Nico Collins, right? I mean, right. Exactly. Tank Dell is out. Nico Collins is out. We don't know about Dalton Schultz. And you'll sort of look at this, bad against the Jets, wasn't great against Denver, around 15, 16 fantasy points, only threw the 1 touchdown pass. He was great against Jacksonville, but then week 11 against Arizona, he throws the 3 picks as well. Wasn't a great day at the offense. He's been under 17 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. And again, now you've got no Nico Collins, no Tank Dell, potentially no Nico Collins, potentially no Dalton Schultz, definitely no Tank Dell. He'll have missed practice time even if he gets cleared. Like, it just feels like C.J. Stroud is one of these guys that you rode into the playoffs, and I don't think you can count on him even if he's active. And you're right, the tea leaves as we sit here on Wednesday aren't pointing towards him going.
Lawrence, another player on there, Aaron Jones, who, you kind of talk about him helping sink your fantasy season. It's also without him, the Packers' offense has just not looked the same.
Yeah, and what'll be important here, too, is that there were actually some teams I made the playoffs for Aaron Jones. So if you do still have him on your roster, like, you're hoping he could get back, like, ASAP. They said he was close to coming back during the last game against the Giants, but like you said, the offense sputtered out against a Giants defense that's been playing a lot better, to be quite frank. But this is something where, they played the Monday night game. You shouldn't even have not had to depend on him playing. So always have that plan if Aaron Jones isn't able to go, but keep an eye out on it.
I also think the other thing there is that Jordan Love was horrific on Monday night against the Giants. He was really bad. This was back to the first month of the season, Jordan Love. Think back to the Lions game where he really struggled.
He was Jordan hate.
Yeah,
Thank
good.
you. There you go. God bless. Thank you
the rest of the day.
There you go.
Anyway.
There you go.
Yeah, the
Thank you
Tommy
very much.
DeVito kiss for Jordan
Yeah,
Hate's poor
exactly.
performance.
2 shows on Sunday. Try the curly fries.
Okay, and I think that will make them lean into the run a little bit more, because there was the thought that, Jordan Love has arrived. His stats are like Aaron Rodgers were in his first season as a starter, but I don't know. Jordan Love might not be the guy, but they might want to lean on the run a bit.
Now, they got Tampa Bay this week, so
Tampa Bay is a pass funnel defense.
He'll get right against them.
The final one here that I want to talk about here, Matthew, is Brian Robinson, just because they're coming out of the bye week. Fortunately for you, you said the Commanders couldn't lose last week, and they didn't. And he's had some time, but it's a hamstring injury, and we know how delicate these could be, for a player that he survived much worse. But there's no guarantee that Brian Robinson's back in this backfield.
No, there isn't. And hamstring injuries are tough. By the way, you don't love the matchup against the Rams. Rams are 6th best run defense over the last 4 weeks as well. Commanders are basically a touchdown underdog. It's -6.5 right now is the current line. So the positives of Robinson are that he seems to get a lot of work regardless of workload. They actually do use him in the passing game somewhat. And if you tell me somebody on the Commanders scores a touchdown against the Rams, I feel like Robinson is probably the most likely. I would bet, I haven't checked at it, but I bet anytime touchdown odds for Robinson are probably the best of anyone on the Commanders on DraftKings, but or worse, depending on how you want to look at it. Like most likely, the odds are most likely that it's Brian Robinson, but he's a little bit dicey. And we're going to talk about this throughout the show. You guys will see this, but it is the playoffs. So in the playoffs, and Lawrence, you may want to pay attention to this for next year, but in the playoffs, like, you can't set your lineup the way you would in a normal season where you're like, I'll give it a shot or whatever. It's bye weeks. I don't care. Like, it is unless you're in one of those leagues where you have a 2-week playoff. This is win or go home. And so the margin for error is very thin. You're playing against, in theory, the elite teams in your league. So anything where it's just like any of those tiebreakers for me, I want safe. Now, again, we'll talk about this as we get throughout the show, which is where, hey, I'm down big. Like, I'm playing the number 1 seed. I snuck in on a tiebreaker, and I just lost Justin Herbert. I got to swing for the fences. Whatever it is, right? There's, I'm in one league where I got in, but I lost Tank Dell. I don't have Aaron Jones. Like, I'm hurt, and I lost Burrow. Like, so I'm piecing it together. So in scenarios like that where you've got to, swing for the fences, it might make more sense. But generally speaking, I tend to be more conservative than not in the playoffs. I want more floor than upside, again, because in theory, everyone on your team is good. You're playing teams that are good. These question marks just, they can kill your season.
Or you could have my team in our league, which is now based around Chargers and Steelers stacks as I head into the playoffs. Literally half my team are Chargers and Steelers. It's very grim. If this was an NFL game, I would be a 13.5-point underdog. Doesn't even matter who I'm playing.
You might as well just let me take my team and take your playoff
You would have a better team than me. I heard you had Lamar Jackson. He's better than my entire team combined. I have no one.
Well, we put up a season high in the last week.
He did.
My team's built around Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Josh Palmer, and Easton Stick.
And
They're all starting. Pat Frymuth might have to start in my flex. It's very grim.
By the way, Jay's going to win the whole league.
100%, yeah.
That's how this happens.
I'm going to every prop on those
I
players.
need 40 points from Jake Ferguson. I really need one of those kind of 3 touchdown games.
There's always a chance. Let's look at the injuries for Thursday night football. Speaking of those Chargers, Jay, Keenan Allen did not practice Monday or Tuesday with the heel. Josh Jacobs with the quad. He hasn't practiced this week either. And on their wide receiver front, because somebody's got to catch the ball from Easton Stick, Josh Palmer activated off IR on Tuesday. He's missed the last 6 games for the Chargers, 13 points per game when he does play 70% of the team's snaps. And speaking of Easton Stick, we got to hear from him on making the start this week. Let's hear from Easton Stick.
No nerves. Maybe on Thursday, that's kind of standard, right, for everybody before you go out there. But no, obviously, this isn't how I envisioned it. But when they selected me 5 years ago, this is what you want as a kid, is opportunity to go play, and so I'm excited for that.
You paid attention to all the other backup quarterbacks, like everyone, like DeVito last night, Jake Browning last couple of weeks.
I know Jake a little bit. We were the same class, and so it's been really cool watching him get his opportunity and have a bunch of success. But we followed as much as anybody. There's so much going on, and it feels like this year more than any year. It's been unfortunate. A lot of the top players at our position have gotten hurt, and so it's unfortunate, but it's part of the game.
That was Easton Stick, fired up for his big start against the Raiders, fellas.
Doesn't fill me with a great deal of confidence.
Well, you
during
better be confident. He's a big Superflex play right now.
The Stick Man,
my
not
team
so much?
is based around him, and to tell you how I'm feeling, I just changed my team name in the league to the Stick Man during that sound. So I'm all in Easton Stick, but I'm not very confident.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Rotoworld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.